In this video, we're going to talk about Socrates and his conclusion about philosophy, about what the aim of philosophy is and what philosophy is all about. So before I start the video, real quick, I know, you're fucking annoying, Saeed, but if you have not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button now. And if you've already subscribed, just beside the subscribe button is a notification bell. Just click that notification bell so every time I upload something, you're notified. So please do that now. And I made it brief, I made it quick. Let's get into it. So I'm taking this philosophy course in school and I'm learning about the Greek philosophers, the ancient Greek philosophers. So Socrates, you can think of Socrates as the father of philosophy, right? And you know, Plato was his disciple, Aristotle was Plato's disciple. So really, like, this is the grandfather we're talking about here, okay? And it looks like, from what I'm reading about Socrates, the man was pretty fucking stoned. I mean, he was pretty high. He was a being that is a high being, operating at a higher consciousness. And he says that the aim of philosophy is to prepare one for death. That was Socrates' conclusion about the practice of philosophy, is to prepare for death. And this is why when the Athenians sentenced Socrates for death and he was locked up in his prison cell, and some people were trying to intervene to get him out, and word on the street, word on the philosophical street is that he could have gotten out if he wanted to, but he said, hey, I'm here, I gotta do what I gotta do, give me the poison, let me drink it, and let's all get on with it. This is clearly a man, a being, forget a man, a being. This is clearly a being that is not very attached to his life. This is clearly a being that preached what he practiced, because he preached that all of this talking, all of this philosophy, all of this thinking, all of this plotting and having theories, all of it, it's all just preparing you for death. And clearly when his time came, he could not give less of a fuck. Not a single spaghetti fuck was given that he was gonna die. And he actually, they say, could have gotten out of it. Some people wanted to get him out. Some people felt bad, you know, that he was sentenced for death, because, you know, he was going around and preaching, and he was sort of becoming a threat to the social order. So some people felt bad that, you know, we were basically silencing this man and by sentencing him to death. And he could have got out of it, but he's like, you know what, I'm here, I mean, give me the poison, let me drink it, let's get on with it, let's just move on. You know, where am I gonna go anyway? Like, you know, consciousness goes on for eternity, and Socrates understood that. So yeah, clearly he's someone who practiced what he preached. He wasn't too concerned with death. When his time came, he was prepared. His philosophy has prepared him. And this is really interesting, because I'm in the position of someone who is a philosopher, right? I mean, what the fuck am I doing in these videos? I am talking philosophy. This is a philosophy and consciousness channel. Consciousness, so as long consciousness is, it's being. When we talk about consciousness, we're in the realm of philosophy. See, so this is a philosophy channel, you know, and what I do in these videos is I talk philosophy. I gather ideas and I think about them, and then I express them in the way that I understand them in the present moment. So what am I doing here? Unconsciously, until this was brought to attention by Socrates, what I'm doing through philosophy is I'm preparing myself for the time that comes when I die. And in a way, you are also, by watching these videos, preparing yourself on an unconscious level. You're probably not even conscious of it. You're also preparing yourself for the moment of death. And I've heard it said that meditation, the practice of meditation, is actually nothing more than preparation for death. So, my grandma passed away a few weeks ago, and of course my parents were shook and absolutely, you know, my dad has never experienced more sadness than he did in his entire life. This is his mother that passed away, right? And talking to my mom and talking to my dad, they have changed tremendously as a result of this experience, because they've seen somebody in front of them die, right? And I mean, they washed my grandma, they buried her with their hands, right? So they got the message. My parents got the message, and I can sense that their priorities in life have changed because they've seen someone else die. Now here's the thing. This moment is going to come to every single one of us. Every single one of us is going to face that moment one day. It could be next minute, it could be tomorrow, it could be 100 years from now, it could be 500 years from now if we come up with some next level technology. But that day is coming, my friends. All of us will have to die at some point. And so death becomes like this 500-pound elephant in the room, and you sort of walk by this elephant every single day, and you pretend like this 500-pound elephant in the room is not there. But that elephant is there. That elephant is there, my friends. That elephant is there. And sooner or later, no matter how... the thing is, it's an elephant. You can't even shrug the elephant under the carpet. You know? You can't. It's a fucking elephant, for God's sake. It's an elephant. You just walk by and pretend like you didn't see nothing. But the elephant's right there. And sooner or later, you're gonna have to deal with this elephant in your house. God damn it, it's an elephant. Sooner or later you deal with this elephant. And sometimes when your closed ones, you know, loved ones die, they pass away, then you are immediately reminded of this elephant. And that is your own death. That is your own mortality. There's so many things that happen when you're constantly in the presence of death. A, it brings you closer to God. It brings you, when I say God, I'm talking about the oneness. I'm talking about the unity here, right? I'm talking about the Christ consciousness, the Krishna consciousness, the one, the is, the awareness, the Tao, the way. It brings you closer to the way, because by being constantly in the presence of death, you're constantly reminded that we're all the same. Man, woman, rich, poor, someone who's got fucking hemorrhoids and they really have serious problems in their asshole right now, somebody who's incredibly healthy, all the same, all mortal beings, and not just humans. Cats, dogs, animals, insects, trees, plants, all have to deal with death. And trees have to deal with death every fall, every year, in a cyclical year, right? A solar year. We see it in our right before our eyes. The trees have to deal with death, with their own death, by shedding the leaves. And then eventually the tree itself just dies and decomposes, right? We see this. This is death. This is life. Death gives life and life gives death. It reminds you of how we're all one. That's what being constantly in the presence, living in a space where you're always in the presence of death. Memento mori, remember death. This is an old Latin saying that whenever a Roman emperor had just won a big battle, you know, he'd have like a slave. As the emperor is parading through the streets, the slave would be reminding him, hey, memento mori, remember death, memento mori, remember death, memento mori, so that his ego doesn't get too inflamed and or inflated, and he thinks like he's fucking God or something, you know? So yeah, you just remember they were all mortal beings, and that just sort of, you start to put aside the differences and focus more on what makes us similar, which is many things. But I think the number one defining feature that makes us all the same is actually our mortality, that we all have to face this day one day, and that is the cessation of existence. That's a big deal, because here you are, you grow up in this ego structure, and you grow up with these models of reality and these models of who you are, knowing damn well that one day these models will no longer exist. They will cease to exist. Who you think you are, your personality, your physical body, all these things you're identified with will one day cease to exist. That's a fucking blow, if you ask me. That is a blow. That is a huge blow. That's what they call an existential crisis. It's pretty bad. It can lead to suicide even, you know? But it is what it is. This is the way this game is. It's life and death. They're part of the same, it's the duality. So as long as we're playing from within the duality, that's the way the duality works. Life, death, evolution, life, death, evolution, life, death, evolution, and it goes on and on and on and on. You see? So the aim of philosophy, to go back to the main topic here, the aim of philosophy, keep this in your head. You know, this really was brought to my awareness just by reading about Socrates, right? That the aim of philosophy and the aim of me making these videos and the aim of you thinking about this stuff, the aim of you even watching this video, is to prepare for your own death. Now you might hear you in the background saying, well, shut the fuck up, Saeed. Like, I'm young right now. What you know? What are you talking about here? Why are you being such a negative Nancy? Talking about death. I'm like, you're 18. You might be like 18 watching, right? I'm like 18 right now. Why do I have to think about death? Why are you telling me to be in the presence of death? Why are you telling me memento mori, remember death? Well, the truth is, you can die tomorrow. I have a cousin that passed away when he was 17 or 18. Car accident. Passed away. This was like 14, 15 years ago. Something like that. And he was my favorite cousin. And I remember I was crying straight for a week. Straight, non-stop. I saw him like few months ago, and next thing you know, he's not there anymore. He passed away. God bless his soul. Oh, he's pretty sure he was such a good-hearted soul that he has to be hanging around in some beautiful parts of the astral plane at the moment. So I'm not too concerned about him. I'm really not too concerned about him. But he was 18 and not even 17, and he passed away. Car accident. So you never know. You never know. Life is very unpredictable. Okay, sure, maybe chances and probability tells you that you're going to live for the next 60, 70, 80 years. Nevertheless, in 60, 70, well, you know, 60, 70, 80 years, we're talking about eternity here. That is not even a blink of an eye in eternity terms. Close an eye, blink an eye, and you'll be 80, 90 years old. And then you have to deal with this. But sooner or later you have to deal with it. So why not start preparing now? Through meditation and through philosophy, through study. Study of enlightened beings, self-realized beings like Krishna, Jesus, all these holy books. Study them. The Tao Te Ching is my favorite book. That's my own personal holy book. The Tao Te Ching, the Way, the Tao. Lao Tzu, right? So that's a self-realized being. Study their words and apply them and really think on them and take the opportunity to prepare for death and look at philosophy. I mean, if you're watching this video up until now, clearly you're interested in philosophy. You watch my channel, you watch these videos, you're damn well interested in philosophy. And what it is you're basically, just remember the aim. You're preparing for death. As my man Socrates says, the aim of philosophy is to prepare for death. So, that's where the video ends. God bless you all, guys. If you have like varying degrees of anxiety, varying degrees to a little bit, a little more, I have a free report called 5 Anxiety Hacks. It's pretty nice, pretty simple, with 5 anxiety hacks. Read them, apply them, and it'll help you. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, through applying these hacks, you know, I rarely, if ever now, experience anxiety. Really, like, I mean, really. There's not much to be anxious at this point. But I apply these 5 anxiety hacks on a regular basis. So it's a mini little report. It's for free, you can check it out. I'll leave a link for it in the description and in the comment as well. 5 anxiety hacks. There's also 5 powerful habits, another free mini report as well. If you want to develop daily habits. So links for it you'll see in the description in the comments. And that's about it, guys. Nothing else to say except for I love you. I love every single one of you guys. God bless you all. But don't forget to subscribe or you're gonna sleep with the fishes.